Yay, we're live.
Good
So,
morning.
does anyone else want to do the intro? I always do the intro, but I'm like, does anyone else want to do it? Welcome to the club.
What?
Everyone's like,
You can tell by my face. I was like, no. Welcome to the show, everybody.
welcome to the club.
My name's Sarah. We have Cassie, and we have
Anyone
Genevieve,
else want to do the intro?
and we're just
Oh,
gonna be
sorry,
friends
it's
to
playing in the
talk.
background.
And we're just friends that are gonna talk. Oh,
Oh no, I can't find it.
uno momento.
Show everybody.
Oh no. How do I make it stop when I can't find it? So it's bad when you have so many things open.
Right. I
You
push
can't find
escape.
the one.
If you push escape, it might like minimize some of the tabs.
Yeah.
Maybe. We got
Oh
this.
man. Does anyone hear it? Okay. It
No, I think
froze.
we're good.
So that's probably a good thing.
I know,
Okay.
right? Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Whoa.
Whoa.
Well, you know what? I just noticed though, as I minimized it, it said it was private. So
Oh.
if y'all aren't, so we need to probably have somebody check it to make sure. Cause I was like, it's weird. We didn't have any views last time, like during the show, and we usually have some.
Yeah.
So we will fix that, or I will fix it, not
Yeah.
we.
Yeah.
Right?
Since it's on my channel.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right?
All right.
Anyways, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. I think Genevieve's good at the disclaimer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, so we're just here. This is a group of ladies who have met like through different ways online and have found that we really like talking about things that people don't generally talk about. And we felt like it was really important to start sharing and giving permission to have conversations about things that, are sort of shadow things or things that we don't normally talk about just on a regular basis. This is not a substitute for medical treatment or therapy. It is really just intended to be, kind of informative and a sharing of our own experiences. And so if you are listening and you feel like you're touched by something and you need support to find a resource, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can help try to link you with a resource, and make sure that if you are having a medical concern or mental health concern that you're seeking treatment for that.
Yes. Fantastic. Yeah. That was beautifully said. I love it.
I know.
Thanks.
You so eloquently like put it all
Yes.
out there. I know, right?
I love it. And I love that
Thanks.
we're all so different. Like I think we're the same, like we have a lot of similarities and we get along so well, but we all have like different avenues of life that we've been through. But yet I think part of the one thing that I love about the show is that I find out more about you ladies that I'm not so different, like that we all have the same things that we struggle with. And I think that that's really what's so important about the human life is connection, and just really like finding a way to relate to people, because it brings us closer, and like these experiences that we have that we can share really creates like beautiful relationships. So
yes.
Yeah. I just love that part of our show.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I
It's
love
great.
that we've never met each other like physically, and we have such a close connection even without that. Like how beautiful is that?
It's really neat.
I feel like I know that's why there's that beautiful part of social media. I know it gets a lot of flack too, but there could be such a good side to really fully connect. Like using social media to be social. I think that's where we easily get into the trap of like, I'm just here to be entertained and unplug from life, but here like it's really intentional and it's thought provoking and it's a way to really connect and relate to each other. And so not just us, but the people watching too. So
it's unscripted too. Like I think that what people don't realize is there's a lot of things that are scripted and kind of guided. And while we do have points to our conversation, sometimes we don't, and sometimes we allow the conversation to go where it needs to go so that things can come up. And I think sometimes that's how the best conversations get started,
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, we didn't have a topic today, but we thought we would do a little card poll. This is mindful messages. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to randomly do it. So how about, I don't know, tell me when, here, I'll pull two just in case we run out of something to talk about. Okay. So
I have a question too before we answer the question.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. Okay.
So because I was thinking, I'm like, I always have a different coffee cup. Do you have a specific cup that you drink out of every single day?
I
Yes.
feel like this one, there's two of them that I really, no, maybe three that I go for. I have about 100 coffee cups. I'm not even lying.
Me too.
This
So
is
you drink the same one every day, Genevieve?
every day you do?
Yes, I
Wow.
do.
Is it a Yeti? What is that?
It's a Hydro Flask.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
those are
I've never
nice.
tried a hard, so maybe I need to get one to try it.
Yeah.
So
Cheers.
can I tell you what I love about it real quick?
Yeah.
What I love about these is I really like my beverage to stay hot,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this keeps it hot
Yes.
for a long, long period of time.
Yeah,
Really?
what, a 6 hour thing with Yetis or
Yeah.
or something?
Okay, I'm getting one because
Yeah.
I probably heat my coffee up 7 times every morning.
Yeah.
Like I'll drink, heat up, drink, heat up, because I'm
Yeah.
always doing things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like, well, this one used to say wifey, and clearly
Yeah, you've used it a
it's
lot.
the white cup. That's what made me notice that I was like, oh, sad day. Or as my son would say, womp.
Aw.
Just white.
Now,
But
now it's whitey.
yeah, whitey.
Yeah.
It's whitey, not wifey.
Where's my whitey cup? No, it's very, very clean. Yeah. I don't know. I think this was a gift. I can't remember now. But yeah, I told Eddie, I was like, we need to go through our cups and just like throw away some. And he goes, oh my gosh, I'm kind of nostalgic. And I was like, you are a hoarder of cups. He's like, I think I might be. So we have like our three, like, it's a lot. And then a shelf that has
I want to
three.
see a picture.
Oh, I will.
Send
I'll
us
show
a
you
picture,
photo.
or
Oh, I
maybe
will.
we'll all post it online. I have like a little coffee
Yeah.
area, and I've
Yeah.
gotten better. I
Yeah.
used to
Like,
be
what's-
nostalgic.
Like, what's the thing you hoard? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
What is the thing?
Maybe
you
like
want?
get them all out and then, yeah, oh my gosh, there's so
Yeah.
many. But some of them
We
are
should-
gifts because they know I love coffee. So I feel like that's where it's hard to like, this is why we can't judge old people with all their little trinkets.
I know,
They don't even,
right?
Yeah.
they don't even like those things. It's everybody else gives it to them.
Right. They're like,
This is what
oh,
happens.
she'll love this. Oh, she'll love this. That's the thing is like, what's the one thing that people always give you that you do love, but you're like, man, I'm getting too many of these. I need to start telling people they got to stop buying these.
What is it? Like angel precious moments?
Yes. People used to buy those all the time. Look. Hold on.
The
I have
faceless.
Yes.
Yep, the faceless things. I feel like it went precious moments to faceless. I think when I was growing up, it was, what are those bells? Like, just bells?
Oh,
The bells?
um,
Like porcelain bells? I don't know.
yeah.
Oh.
I can't think of the name
My
of
mom
it.
had like a whole bunch of little bells. I remember that.
Like
Anyway.
they're like cowbells, but not really. They're like
Yeah,
little
they're-
ding ding ding. Yeah.
I feel like there's a fancy name for them.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You
though.
should look it up. But
Yeah, write this in the comments, you guys.
Yeah. If anybody knows what those bells are called.
Yeah, and also tell us what you have too many of, and you're afraid
Yes.
people are just going to keep buying that for you because they think you love it and you really don't.
It's going to be my Friday post is what do you have too many of? Because I want to know what people have. Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing that's really interesting about mindfulness. The one thing that I notice is that when you're external, like if your house and you're in your kitchen, like if the areas where you go often are cluttered, it's a signal of what your brain is kind of looking like. Like this way. Now, Genevieve, you might have a thought on this too, but I notice I get messier when I'm feeling more chaotic. Like I get messier outside in my house, and then I'm like, oh gosh. And then when I get
Yep.
clearer in my head, I'm like, I gotta clean up. So
yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I definitely experienced that too. I think it's I've not like done any research on that, but I absolutely do believe that like the clearer our minds are, the clearer our spaces can be, and that our spaces are often a reflection of our mind. I mean, if you look at people with ADHD, who are who, and some people with ADHD do not struggle with organization, but a lot of people do. And it is because they're running 90 million channels at one time. And so they're like on multiple different frequencies. And there's a lot of stuff that gets all over the place. So, yeah.
I know
my
I have
closet,
that. Like it's a
it
true
starts
thing.
to grow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so chaotic. But I feel like it affects like even. I mean, I work online, so my business, like I've noticed it's like these lulls of like highs and lows, and it depends on how clean I keep the house. Like, and I
Yeah.
say I keep, as far as like my own responsibility of like
Yeah.
my laundry, my desk. Like it's definitely something that I feel like will mirror what's going on in other areas of your life 100%. So
Well,
yeah.
and I think too, it's really hard for me. What I realize is as a mom, like
Mm.
when my children were 3, when my boys that are now 15, when they were 3, I remember I like had to seek out a mentor because it was making me feel so crazy that I couldn't keep my house clean. Because that's one of the
Yeah.
ways that I feel
Yes.
like organized and
Yes.
secure is
Totally.
cleanliness. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like every time I clean it up,
Yes.
I just make a mess again. And she's like,
Totally.
I talked to this woman and she was like, you need to put like half of, even like 3/4 of their toys away and go through boxes. Like just get a tote out and they can play with the one tote of the things and then like rotate it like they're new toys. And I was like, that's brilliant. And
Yeah.
then when we sat down to do it, they were like, oh, you can't put that away. Oh, but I love this. So then
Yes.
we couldn't put them away because they
Yeah.
remember then they're
Yeah.
asking for that one toy. And you're like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's hard to keep a house clean when there's too many minds like
Mhm.
running the show. Like all of us
Oh,
leave our
absolutely.
Mhm.
so
I would 100% agree. And just along that vein, Cassie, it's so funny that we're talking about this today. You know, my kiddo is neurodivergent, right? He has autism, and in a lot of ways there's a lot of similarities. Their brains function in a very, very different way.
yeah.
And so he's got, I mean, my house is crazy, you guys, and this is not a reflection of me at all. And so there's like stacks of different, like basically centers that he creates for himself of things that he will go to, and he will jump around the house going to those things. And so I could never put anything away because
Yeah.
he's always engaging all of them all day long,
Yeah.
but just at different times. And so it's
I
like my house is just it's made for him right now. And
yeah.
eventually it'll get organized again.
So this makes me feel better because so my 6-year-old, I've kind of wondered if he's neurodivergent because there are certain things that he does, like there's a lot of tantrums and a lot of like things where he can't control it. Like he will actually tell me I can't. Like I'll say like we gotta breathe and he's like, I can't. Like it's very there's a lot of just little things that I'm like, he's not like my other boys and he just deals with things differently. But
Yeah.
that is something that he does where he has piles of certain toys that he plays with. And what's interesting is like you can't get rid of anything because everything
Mm-mm.
is sentimental. And
Yes.
we've talked about like, okay, but if we donate for other people to play with them, so they're not going in the trash, then
Yep.
he's like, but I may want to play with that someday. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering like I go through things like this. Like there's certain things where I'm like, oh, I don't want to get rid of these clothes or I don't, but it's
Mm.
his is like excessive. Like if you saw my house, you would be
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. Like the only time he'll let us clean it up is if he knows we're having people over because he's very aware that
Yes.
people don't get it.
Yes. Yeah.
And so he'll help us clean it up. But as soon as people are gone, out it comes
Yeah.
and it just throws up
Yes.
all over the house.
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And I think that one of the strategies is to have a space in your home that's designated that's just yours. And if you have that space that you can keep kind of clear and organized in a way that feels, just
Clean,
clean.
organized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I was just clean, organized, right.
Yeah.
Um, I think that can help. And I think that's an adaptive strategy
Okay.
for this sort of situations that we are talking about. It's
Yeah.
just like you gotta have one space that you feel like is set up for you.
And that's really smart, I think, for everyone. I mean, I know we all have our rooms, but it's funny, there each of the kids and my husband and I, we all have our space that we gravitate to. Like,
Mhm.
my one son loves the living room and he usually hangs out there or like the fitness room. And because we have a TV in both, and so that's usually what we shift. We have TVs in their bedrooms, but we don't allow TV in the bedroom anymore because we were like, we don't want them to be like it just seemed crazy. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But we just kind of like moved each person has their like space, which is weird, but it just kind of naturally happened. But you can see that one
Mhm.
person's stuff compiling in those areas because that's kind of
Yeah.
where they gravitate to. So it's
Mhm.
interesting. And I'll have to talk to him about that. Like, maybe having a family space too, because there really isn't
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
everywhere. So there's not a clean space,
Mhm.
like unless we convince him, but then it's like a whole emotional event when
Yeah.
we ask him to move things and he's like that I
Yeah.
can't find it, and like, and I get it because I have my piles of books. Like, don't touch
Yeah.
my stack of books because I know where they're
Yeah.
at. I might have to
Yes.
quote them,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I probably need to talk with his doctor about getting him diagnosed, because I do think that there is some difficulties, and he does have like dyslexia and things like that where it's starting to show
Yeah.
up. And he's
Mhm.
only 6, but I know that I think he would benefit from some services to help him kind of learn how to self-soothe,
Totally.
and I think we all do. I think one of the reasons that I love to come here is I think that a lot of the reason that we have the issues we have as adults is
Yeah.
because they didn't know. Like, we didn't, back in the 80s, we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And so there was not a
Yeah.
lot of help for us to cope. And people were just generalized into these big categories. And now I think
Yeah.
there's probably
Yeah.
too many categories, but it's necessary for people to just find the right skill set, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
why we do personal development.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like
Absolutely.
I'm seeing a lot of that like through social media, like the reels. And then I'm like, wow, are all the things wrong with me? Like,
Right.
you guys get targeted sponsored ads, but then they're like listing all of these things. And I was like, huh. I was like, I think there can be a good and a bad side to that too, where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel
Right.
like you kind of have to, take that information. Don't look at it like, oh well, this is what's
Yeah.
wrong with me. It could be a sense of like that self-awareness and also being like, okay, well, if I know this about me, then what are the things that I know that I can do to create a better space for myself and for others,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where I find, because I kind of like look at that and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about watching all these videos.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
and
This is
Sarah,
wrong. Yeah, it's
Sarah,
just
I was just going to say, I appreciate that you brought up, like, looking at those things and feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm broken.
Mhm.
Kind of connecting back to our conversation last week about unbrokenness.
Oh yeah.
But also that, like, one of the things that I think is really fascinating is that right now they're trying to to view like ADHD and autism and dyslexia and things like that. They're
Mhm.
trying to view those as actually not disabilities,
Mhm.
but more like gifts and
Yeah.
strengths,
I
and
love it.
just a different way of being and thinking and showing up in the world, as opposed to
Yeah.
viewing it as a disability.
Yeah.
um and I think that's really important. And we're seeing that, like, in the mental health field, in the behavioral health field, in the medical field, but it's
Mhm.
not becoming widely, like, expressed, except for people who are really championing neurodiversity.
Mhm.
And in a lot of ways, neurodiversity is all about falling on a spectrum, and all of us have little
Yeah.
idiosyncrasies
Mhm.
that make us different from each other. And
Yeah, which is a
diversity is
beautiful
cool.
thing. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
definitely is more of a positive than a negative. And I think like that
Hmm.
turn of like self-awareness, I think it
Yeah.
it can be a good thing. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
reminder of like, hey,
Well,
it's okay. I guess it depends on who I'm watching too. Because if they put it in a good
Totally.
light, it's a
yeah.
good thing. But I think some of those videos can be a little bit like on that negative
Overwhelming.
side of like, this
Yeah.
is what
Absolutely.
that's why I meant to say like, this is, am
Yeah.
I broken because they're telling me? But at the same time, it's like, well, the ones that are showing it in a positive light, like that's what we have to pay
Hmm.
attention to. So I'm glad that you
Totally.
brought that up because I wasn't trying to say it was like, oh, it's not, you're broken if
But
you have this thing.
yeah, but I
It's like,
But
also,
it.
yeah, your interpretation of it is so
yeah.
important too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think too, though, it's another thing to recognize, and hopefully this doesn't like block our being pushed into the algorithm. But I think part of it is the system has become so good at recognizing based on what you search for, based on what you share.
Yeah.
Like, they're really, really good at marketing. Like, that's,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I don't care if I'm marketed to, like, it doesn't bother me if people are trying to sell stuff, because that's, life is about, to me, selling is about sharing your gift, sharing the thing that you love. And if it's done properly, then it's okay. Like, it doesn't really affect me. I'm not like, oh my gosh, this person's trying to sell me. I think that what's really important to acknowledge too is like, AI and all those things, they're really getting narrowed down. And I think too, for me, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I've been consuming a lot more social media, and I think part of it is because of the technique that they're using. They're making it so attractive to our brains that it's almost
Yeah.
like near impossible to get off. Like yesterday I had, and I'm going to be vulnerable. I had like a really bad, it was a great day, but I had a bad brain day. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is like, I started
Yeah.
consuming to look for something for me. Bye, I love you. I started consuming because I was looking for something to post because I was wanting to like get
Yeah.
inspired to share. But what
Mhm.
ended up happening is I just started consuming for hours. And then my thing came up, and like I have a 20-minute timer that says, you've been on Instagram too long. And
Mhm.
so it pops up so that I remember, because sometimes I just get into that
Yeah.
and then I'm
Mhm.
like, oh gosh. So it popped up and I was like, not now. And I just kept consuming, and I was like, probably within an hour,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, what am I doing? And I was fully aware. And I
Mhm.
kept saying to myself, get up, go do something different, go for a walk. And I literally, my brain was like,
Yeah.
I cannot. And I was like, just get up. I just kept, like, I started saying it out loud. I was like, get up and go do something productive. And
Mhm.
I just kept feeling like I needed more dopamine. It was the weirdest thing. I've never had
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
so strange.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
I've definitely experienced that before. And I think like
Yes. Me
that's
too.
where we're getting that dopamine rush of just entertainment too. And
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
the
Yeah.
next, the next, the next, and it's such short also. I don't know if did I talk about this before, but when we went on the beach and we were dancing, that I don't know, these teenagers came up and they're like, "Are you guys on TikTok?" I was like, "I forgot my password." I was like, "Man, I could be your mom." Like I was just trying to like show them. I was like, "We're not that cool, you guys." Like, but then they were like, "We want to dance too." And then I was like, "Really?" I was like, "So actually, well, they're under 18, so I don't know how I feel about posting them on social media." But they're like, "Tag us on Instagram," and but then they ended up like as we were doing the dance, like they were like, "Wait, is this longer than a minute?" Like,
That's
it's a
hilarious.
song. Of course it's longer than a minute, but they're not used to longer than a minute songs.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
what they're hearing on TikTok and Instagram. It's like limited to and really it's only 25 seconds, or it's
Yeah.
even shorter than that, the reels and the that
You
are
know,
viral. And so it's funny that their attention was like 3 minutes. And I was like, we'll just do a minute. And they're like, okay. And so like
Yeah.
during
wow.
the
Yeah.
song, they were like, oh my gosh, because
But
it's
this
true.
is something to be recognized too, because I think, we're used to taking a dance fitness class, right? We do it for an hour. There's like 12 to 15 songs. We
Yeah.
learn the 12 to 15, like we know these songs,
Mm-hmm.
and their attention span is not like the next generation. I feel like they're like, let's get it done and move on, which could be really great. But
Mm-hmm.
there's also some power in like really staying in the moment and like doing and connecting. And I think that that's like, I've noticed a drop in class numbers. And I think part of that is, well, part of it is I teach privately, but a lot of it is the people that work where I teach,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
the younger generation and they come to class and they have so much fun, but then they're like, are we done yet? They do say
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, it's only a 50-minute class. We can do this. And it's
Yeah.
not like they're winded.
Yeah.
They're just like over it. Like they're
Yeah.
having fun. They're like,
Yeah.
man, this is a lot for my brain. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Huh.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
Well,
yeah.
we like kind of shot ourselves in the foot in terms of technology and instant gratification and things like that.
Mhm.
And it is, one of the challenges that we're seeing in schools is that kids have no stamina.
Wow.
We're learning. They cannot sit and learn. And, if I think if we were better about setting up classrooms so that there was always a break every like 15 to 20 minutes of some sort of getting up and moving, that would be great. But the reality is that now kids are like, I want this, to be quick and consumable and digestible and just like a really fast pace. And that is the brain just needing to be constantly entertained. And so there's a lot of emphasis right now on trying to help kids build stamina again. And I will tell
Interesting.
you that it's really important in our household that my kid not constantly be entertained by a computer or anything for that matter, like or for us, by us or anything like that. He has to go and play by himself and have the stamina to play on his own for an extended period of time. And that's really important. And we're losing that because we are we're fast paced, we're busy, we want things to be quick, and we also want to be constantly entertained,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think that need to, that you can consume or you can create, but you can't do both
Right.
at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think like that's where,
Yeah.
because I, talk to people about their online businesses, and it's like I was like, okay, you have to take off the consuming hat and put on
Yeah.
the creator hat. So
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's
I need
so
you
it's
in
such a
my life,
different way.
Sarah.
You what?
I need Sarah in my life to be in my ear. Okay, Cassie, you've
Yeah.
consumed enough today.
Yeah,
Put your
Yeah.
creator hat on. And I
creative.
think
Yeah, you
Yeah.
work
too,
on. Yeah.
the coping strategy for actually creation is really, really a positive effect on your brain. When you
Yes.
create and you have this thing
Yes.
that comes out of you, you're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
this is really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Synapses are working in a different way, and it's
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
So
but the more you do
that's the
it,
thing.
the better
Hmm.
those synapses work too, because
mm,
you can get more creative on a quicker basis, kind of like with choreography. I
Yes.
remember in the beginning creating choreography, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this song took me an hour and a half, and now I'm like, I'll listen to a song, and within 3 times I have it memorized
Hmm.
with choreography, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like how did I come up with that? I don't have a dance background, and it's like
right.
something where it's like, but I can hear music, and eventually it clicked in, but that's 15 years of
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it does
I
get.
love
Yeah.
that you said that because I used to choreograph a lot and I stopped doing it because I took a break from teaching. And now going back, like I can actually see in it, like I'll hear a song and I can see an entire, like I'm like, oh, I see it. But it's funny because I don't practice it. Sometimes it's a lot harder. Like I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh, I wanna, and then I'm like, oh, I can't. But some songs are like, but yeah, I think it's just anything like you do it with practice and it gets better and easier the more you do it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and going back to the creating thing. So
Yeah.
actually that what the brain is really wired for reward. And what you want is you want like so with creativity, when you create something, it's incredibly rewarding to the brain. And so you want to build that into your life, really, like because you want your brain to be rewarded by creating rather than being rewarded by consuming,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what happened with me yesterday is like I don't even know like what was it that triggered because I was so excited to work yesterday, but then something happened and I don't remember what it was. But I remember feeling like, oh, it felt too big to me to like work
Yeah.
on. And so then I started coming up with reasons why I needed to do other things. And then
Yeah.
before I knew it, I was like, oh, what am I doing? And then it was like when I got off my phone, I was like, oh, well, I need to eat lunch. So like it was just thing after thing. And by the end of the day, and I told my husband, and my husband's a project manager now. So he's worked in IT his whole entire life. And he's now doing projects like in IT. So he's a project manager for IT projects. And last night he was like, we have deadlines on these things because we're working on taxes and all this stuff. And I'm the accountant in the family, so I usually do it. And he was like,
Hmm.
do I need to put on my project manager hat and start giving you some deadlines? And I was like, I think you do because if I don't have a reason, I like
Yeah.
I'm like, meh, I'll do it later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and it's
Totally.
not hard.
Totally.
Like,
It is hard. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but
Yeah.
what he's asking, like the thing that he was asking me to do was not hard, but I was like, I don't want to do it. It's not rewarding. It's
Yeah.
not. So I was like, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
but I
that's where
love
that
that we have that
accountability is.
relationship.
Yeah, the accountability is so key. I feel
Yeah,
like that's
Totally.
like make your brain work with you, not against you. And I think like when you
Yeah.
have another friend or an accountability buddy or
yeah.
I'll have to send you that my Zoom again because every morning,
Yes.
usually from like 9 to
Okay.
or not 9, but 11 to 12:30 is like
And
I
that's
call it the
Eastern, right?
power 90. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh Eastern, yeah.
Okay, I'm
And so
coming. You
okay,
better
good.
watch
Yeah.
out.
It should be the same link, but I'll send it again. But I feel like
Okay.
yes, it's so true to have that just knowing somebody's there. It's almost like I mean, how often we were trained from the age of 5 to well, for not the college dropouts, but maybe to 22. But like you are trained to you can do work if somebody is there to watch you work.
Yeah.
And then you go to a job and it's the same thing. So your brain
Yeah.
is so just trained to
Yeah.
to have that accountability. And then when you don't have it, like when you're
Yeah.
your own boss or you're trying to do a project outside of work related things
Yeah.
and it's maybe your
Yeah.
self-care, it's like, wow, you don't have the accountability. So you have to seek it out, you have to search it out, you have to ask for it. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now I feel not pressure, but just knowing like
Yeah.
you're doing your work, I'm doing my work, we're doing work together. Like this is better than being alone and doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. If I'm working from home one day over the next couple of weeks, I might
Oh yeah.
just
Come on
join, even
in.
though I'll be working on my work, but like, my
Yeah.
day job work, but that'd
Mhm.
be really cool. That might be
Yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
my gosh, for sure.
yeah, so I have to actually hop off. I'm going to tell
Okay.
you. So I might be working from home the next 2 weeks because we're doing state testing
Oh yeah.
for students, and it makes it very, very difficult to see kids at school because you cannot pull them during testing at all, period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is actually Nolan is did started his testing this week, and that is why I have to hop off because I got to go make him a nice breakfast, get
Oh,
him up,
Getting
make sure the
ready.
morning is not stressful, because we all know if the brain is stressed,
mhm.
it doesn't perform as well. And
Yeah.
so that's my intention. That's the all week we've been really intentional, and it's worked really well. He's
I
had a
love it.
great week. So
Oh,
yeah,
good. That's
yeah,
awesome.
What's
yeah,
interesting?
Thank you.
Speaking of testing, they just sent a notice out for the high schoolers that
yeah.
the freshmen, sophomore, and seniors will be working from home remote on April 10th because the
Oh,
juniors test during the ACTs and they don't want any
yeah,
other students in the building. So they
yeah.
have the
It's
three grades work from home. I was like, wow. And
yeah,
I thought that's pretty cool that they're bringing down the energy so that the
yeah,
juniors can get a better test score.
Yeah.
totally. It's
But
really smart.
there's
Mhm.
a lot of like stressful, I think the weight of testing too is sometimes too much as well, because not
A-
everyone tests the same.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
No,
it's a catch 22.
Yeah.
it totally is. And by the way, like I just think state testing, you know, um, in a lot of ways is not gone about uh in a way that would really support kids
Yeah,
performing well. Like the length
Totally
of
agree.
time that kids have to test, the expectations, like kids just get really stressed, and it's kind of not fair because really they're not the ones being assessed. It's a school that's being assessed,
yeah,
with the
yep,
state testing.
Mhm.
ACT is different, but yeah,
yeah.
it's really interesting.
No.
So
It makes
anyway,
me stressed just talking about it because
I
I
know.
I
I was
know.
gonna
I would
say,
never
so,
do well in those
yeah,
arenas. Like I honestly was
Yeah.
like a C student, and I was like, okay, as long as I get to the next grade, because I would have such anxiety with tests, and I would
Yeah.
not perform well. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. But good luck,
Yeah.
children. I
yeah.
think,
Good luck,
Yes.
children.
Thank you.
So, do
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Sarah? Do you want to pull a card real quick so we have a
Oh yeah,
motivational message? That
yeah,
because we were
definitely.
gonna do
Yeah,
that,
you
and then
have to head out, Genevieve. I want to respect that
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
So,
go for it.
thank you again,
Oh,
lady. And we can
Thank
talk
okay.
for a few
Bye.
5 minutes
Bye.
on the card. Okay,
Yeah,
you let me
Sorry.
know when.
Bye.
Love
you're
you,
okay.
lady.
Love
Bye.
you.
All right,
Love
Cassie, you tell me
you. Bye.
when to stop.
Okay. Stop.
Okay. All right. This is the card.
Ooh,
Upside down.
yeah.
Ooh, expressing
I
love. That's
love
a good
it.
one. Today, I notice the things I appreciate about the people in my life.
Oh,
I take a moment to send them love and to wish them well. My love is infinite, and it feels great to express it.
I love that. That's
I
so
know.
good to end on that note. I
I
love it.
know, right? Yeah, I was gonna
Expressing
say
love.
that's a way to like, just kind of be a little bit more present and a reminder of like, the next person you see, like tell them how much you appreciate them.
Yes,
I think that
absolutely.
that makes a
I
big
always
difference.
think it's so funny because I try to be really intentional. If I see someone and then I think something really nice, like sometimes, you see someone and they look like they're just smiling and they're happy. And you're like, oh, you're making me really happy. Like I will tell people like you have a beautiful smile or you
Oh,
just made my day. And they're like, oh, thank you.
I know,
And
right?
sometimes those conversations like turn
Yeah.
into big conversations. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, how beautiful is this? Like if
Right.
I wouldn't have said this compliment or this thing that I
Mhm.
was thinking, then I
Yeah.
would have never gotten to know this person.
Right?
So
Exactly.
yeah,
I know. I just think of like when you're in the grocery store and you were talking and everyone or somebody was like trying to make a joke and
yeah,
connecting with people. I'm like, that's so true. Like just to
yeah,
get outside of your comfort zone and to I think give a compliment. Like that goes
yeah,
so long. Like that, your waitress or somebody standing in
yeah.
line or, some of the stressful situations, like if you go into the what is it, the license branch or
Hmm.
wherever you have to go, especially with like business stuff. It's like,
For sure.
okay, I'm gonna search for a compliment for this person because they probably need
Yes,
it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think too, like it's some of the time. you never know what's going on with people. And I think sometimes we're prompted by that little voice, right? Whatever, whether you call it God or spirit or universe or what, maybe it's just your inner knowing. Like sometimes that voice, it's almost like there's a part of us that's built in as humans to know when somebody needs a little pick me up too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, just listening to that little voice. So anytime it's positive, I try to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, expressing love. So today we're going to express love to all our people. Yes.
All the people in the world.
Even the people that we don't know.
Even, exactly. Even the people we don't.
Even
Even
the
the
people
ones
that
that
are
have,
having,
yeah, maybe
yeah,
even if you get a little bit of a negative vibe, you might need to
yeah,
like they
connection.
need it the most. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I think
That's what I
sometimes
was just, we were on the same vibe because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, sometimes those people that are having that negative day, it's because they've had a rough day and they just need someone to like
yeah.
remind them that it's okay. Like
Yeah.
you're having a rough day, but you're still loved and you can have a rough day and it's okay.
Exactly.
So,
Amen. I love
and
that.
now that I see I'm like, I gotta watch this show, The Traitors.
Oh, the traitors. Oh my gosh,
Uh,
it's so good. I
it's
know.
and
And
you said it's
oh,
on
I told him. Oh,
Pluto?
it's on Peacock.
Peacock. I knew it was
Yep.
a P.
Yep. And it's so funny because the logo is, well, the traders, and then this is
Yeah.
like a hat or a hood with a
Yeah.
face. I don't know if you could tell from that, but I was like, man, that'd make a cool sweatshirt. And
Yeah,
then,
that would
but
make
I
if it
told
was a
Eddie that,
pointed
and
hood.
he looked it up. Yeah, I think it's a regular sweatshirt, but
Yeah.
it's super it's like just cozy.
Yeah.
And he found it online, and he's like, he just randomly like gifted it, like he's like, hey, open this, and it
That's
came.
awesome.
Like, what in the world? He's like, don't look at where it came from, because it
That's
said the
that's
traders are.
awesome.
Yeah, so I opened it up and I was like, oh my gosh. But it is our like show that we've been watching recently. It's
Got
funny,
it.
the first season in the American version, it's just celebrities. And I don't really
Yeah.
know any of the celebrities because it's all from like it's like Big Brother, Bachelor, like all of those shows.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't watch any of them. And so I was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know who these people are. And it's like you see these people who are always acting anyway,
Yeah.
like on this show. And so you see them try to figure out who the trader. There's always like 2 to 4 traders
It's like a game.
in a group. It's a game, and then
Oh,
they
okay.
have to find the traders and vote them out. But it's very like it takes like 2 weeks.
Oh
So
wow.
it's like people don't play a game for a couple hours. It's 2 weeks, and so you just see like how like oh my gosh, like this is heavy stuff. And it is because some of them are just really trying to lie, and then some
Yeah.
of them are like trying to convince. No, I'm a faithful, just like you. And so it's very like, oh my gosh, it messes with your
That's
like you're
crazy.
rooting for people. But
Yeah.
the first season is celebrities, and I was like, yeah, this is an intense show. But then I saw the next season was just regular people, and I'm trying to think
Yeah.
if that was in the UK version, but the UK version I actually prefer because it was
Interesting.
regular people, and
Yeah.
you just saw them like, I mean, it sounds terrible, but like I think half the guys cried within the first episode, and
Oh
I
my
was like, and so when yeah, I felt like so bad because I was like, I can't believe these like grown men. Well, of course, it's okay to cry, like,
yeah.
but you don't
Yeah.
see it very often with grown
But you
men.
don't see it very often. Yeah.
No. And so I was like, oh my gosh. But then they would even say, like, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Like, I'm trying to
Wow.
defend myself. But it's just so intense because you see this play out over the course of 2 weeks. And it's like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, like you're rooting for somebody and you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an intense show.
We'll have to
I will
watch it.
say.
Is it like teen appropriate? Like it's
Yeah.
not
Oh yeah.
like for everyone. Okay.
Like, I think that's why I like, it's more of a game rather
Okay.
than like, ooh, so-and-so is sleeping with so-and-so. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing like that. Like it's
Yeah.
not at all. Like kids could probably watch it too. And it's probably, but it is kind of like very a psychological game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I could ever do that because, well, I would tell her straight out, like, don't choose me as a trader because I will just tell people right away that I'm a
Yeah. I know.
trader.
I know. I would not ever be. I wouldn't be very good on the show.
No. Oh my gosh. I can't lie. Like, or I could try and then be like, right after, be like, no, I'm terrible. No, you can vote
Just
me out.
kidding. Just
It's
kidding.
me.
I lied.
It's
So
me and that person too. But it's kind of,
speaking
it's just funny. Yeah.
speaking of shows, The Bachelor. This is a funny thing.
Oh,
Like
do you watch
one of
it?
my students actually no. So I don't watch The Bachelor, but one
Okay.
of my students, she doesn't take my class anymore because she's moved to another state. But
Mhm.
she's on The Bachelor, and I was like, "That's so crazy!"
Are
Like
you
that she took my
serious?
class. Yeah.
That's
So the
crazy.
new like season that's out, because she had messaged and she was telling everybody that she was on the show, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's crazy!" I'm like, "I know a
Wow.
celebrity."
Yeah, I know,
I
right? Like,
mean,
what in
yeah,
the
it's
world?
weird. Like so,
Yeah,
but she was she
have you
went to
seen
like
it then?
broadcasting school, so
Oh,
I
okay.
think she's trying to get back into like doing what she loves.
Okay.
And I don't know how that works. She's also single, so I don't know. Maybe she's looking for love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's so crazy. But I haven't watched it
Yeah.
yet. I need to watch it. I told her I
Yeah.
would watch it, and I was like, dang it, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, reality shows, I'm like, oh my gosh. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I could, yeah, I'm like, I could never do that. Like, that's
I
just,
know.
I
I
don't know.
couldn't do
That's
it.
so, I feel like there's a sense of control that when you have that on, well, social media, everybody can be a
Yeah,
celebrity nowadays, but it's something where you control the content, right?
yeah,
And it's like, oh, the editing and everything from start to
yeah.
finish. So, but with shows like that, like, you're in no control of anything. And I think
Right.
like,
No.
am I a control freak? Because something like that would like
Yeah,
really freak me out. I don't
yeah.
know. Just
Me
thinking about
too.
it. Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. I don't think I could be on a show like that. And also I'm very like I don't know how those women do it. Like I would be devastated to like have one guy and
Yeah.
then like everybody's dating the same guy. Like I would be so jealous. I would
Yeah.
I would just be like, you know what, forget this. I'm just here for the fun. Like there's no way I could do it. I would be like, I'm just gonna make girlfriends. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna be friends and I'm gonna go on my
Hmm.
date, but it's probably not gonna work out because I just can't like I'm
Yeah.
just not I've always been monogamous. And
Right.
so that
Hmm.
feels very not monogamous, even though I
Hmm.
know that's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
Mhm.
I can't.
Oh my gosh. And then to try to be friends with the people. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
And
why?
that's the thing I'm shocked most by is like I see her posting with all her like friends on the show
Yeah.
and I'm like
Mhm.
it's so interesting to me how they can like connect and have a good relationship and so
Mhm.
I'm curious to like when she can talk about the show because she hasn't been able to talk about it because they film it and then
You have to wait till
and
it's
then
like
they
aired.
yeah
Hmm.
so I was like I have all these questions that I want to ask her so
I feel like that would she want to come on this
that
podcast?
would be so
We,
fun. I'm gonna ask her. We
we
should
could
be
talk
like,
about
okay, we want to know the
reality.
secrets of the Bachelor.
I know, right? Exactly. Like we have a special guest, and this
Yes,
is like because I feel like the psyche of like, that's an unlikely conversation because how many
it
people are
is.
like, oh, you're on this show, let's talk about it. Like that'd be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah,
So
that would be cool. I'm gonna reach out to her. I'm gonna ask her when the show is all done. We want to
mhm.
have you on the show and ask you about all the like background stuff, like the
Yeah, like
crazy
how does
things
it
that
play
go on.
with your mindset? Like
Yeah,
really, like that's the getting in the mindset of somebody. I would love to just pick their brain
yeah. And
with that
she's
type
so
of
sweet. You would love her.
experience.
She's adorable. She's like just like short blonde hair, super cute, really fun, like
Mhm.
just great energy. She actually reminds me a lot of you, like her, just her energy
Absolutely.
wise. She's like just very sweet.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm gonna ask her because that would be
yeah.
so fun.
That would be. I know. I was like, that would be such a cool, yeah, just
Yeah,
way
because I'm
to,
curious now that we're
right?
talking. I'm like, I'm wondering what it's
Yeah.
like because I don't think I
Mhm.
could do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So
even just on a show that's not about dating. I was like,
yeah, right.
that sounds even worse. Like that's
I
probably
know.
the hardest of all of them, right? It's like
Yeah, exactly.
either that or like, I don't know, what is it, the Parthenon or the Roman where they're like
Yeah,
fighting the
right. Like
gladiators.
in
Yeah,
the
I was like,
arena or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, in the
it's
arena.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It just I think it would mess too much with your emotions. I don't think I could
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah, I would want to sign up for something that's just like the physical strength side. Like that sounds
Yeah,
easier to me than like actually doing
right.
something more emotional. I was
Yeah,
like, actually, growing up, I remember we had to like say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I still remember I was like, "I want to be an American gladiator."
I love it. I used to love that show.
Right? That was such a
Yeah,
fun show. I
it
know.
is a fun show.
There's a crazy documentary, speaking of shows, that
Yeah,
about the American gladiators.
really.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look for that.
I can't remember what it was called, but I remember watching it and I was like, this is so interesting and where
Speaking
they're at now. And yeah,
Oh, that'd be so cool to see because
very,
I used to watch that show. I remembered I loved it. But
yeah.
speaking of documentaries, my favorite one right now is on Disney Plus, Photographers. Have you watched it?
Ooh, no.
Oh my gosh, this is like one of the best shows that I've ever watched. My son picked
Really?
it out. He loves documentaries, and
Whatever. I
it's
think Eddie
basically
would probably.
following different photographers throughout their career. There's like 6 or 7 episodes.
Oh,
And
cool.
it actually is really beautifully done. Like it's following them,
Mhm.
but it's also like how they got to where they are today. Like why are they photographers? Why are they doing what they're doing? And each photo I
Oh,
was like, this sounds boring. Like when
yeah.
my friend first I was like, I don't want to watch. I love photography, but I don't want to watch a show about it.
Mhm.
It's not. It's so
Oh,
amazing.
oh, yeah. It
I
sounds
mean,
like with
it's
Disney
good.
Plus, there was
Yeah.
another show that sounds similar to that, but it was all about their animation, like the Imagineers.
Oh yeah.
And how they came about, like what their goal, like as a child, they talked about their
Mhm.
favorite Disney film and like what they were gonna do when they grew up. And it was
Wow.
very much like they wanted to go and be a Disney Imagineer. And it's the same idea. But Like you get very caught up in it, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like, I end up crying at every episode because
Well,
there's always a story of struggle,
yeah.
where they get that job, and
I
so.
cried at the first episode. I haven't cried in the other ones, but the
Mhm.
first one I think hit something in me that I was like, oh
No.
my God. It made me realize so as a child, I wanted to be a marine biologist and I wanted to be an actress and a dancer, which I ended up being a dancer.
Right?
But I still want to pursue my acting dream. Like I still am like, okay, I want to be in a show or something.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's
like marine biology was my love. Like I loved studying
yeah.
the ocean. I loved the ocean. I like did
Oh, hmm.
anytime we could do a project in science on something, I always picked the ocean or something in
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I love that.
So it was really beautiful, like how they told the story of it was two photographers. So it was like a husband wife team,
Mhm.
and they talked about like the patriarchy of like how photography really wasn't a woman's sport and like it
Oh,
was not something that women did.
hmm.
And so it was really cool how they're just showing different pieces of it. You'll
Hmm.
have to watch it. You're gonna like it. I think Eddie would probably love it. Um, and then
Hmm.
I was thinking there was one other one Blaze watched that was so good. The Little Big Farm or something like that. Have you seen that one? It's
Mm-mm.
another documentary following like a farm from the beginning stages of like tilling the soil, like this one
Okay.
family that like redid this whole, it's really, that one's just one show though.
Yeah,
But
but
The
still.
Little Big Farm, I have all the because Blaze is a documentary consumer. He's like, I want anything with real, like he watches mega
Yeah.
builders and like ice
Oh,
road truckers. I'm
wait,
like,
really? Did you
it's
ever get
so
into the
crazy.
Lego show? Is it Master Builders?
Yeah, I think he likes that one too, Master Builder.
W-
I think
With
it's called
Will
Master.
Arnett? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's his name. I don't know if it's Master Builders, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like I think that's what they're called, but the show itself is
Show something
Lego
different.
Masters. Yeah.
Lego Masters. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
That's
knew the word
that,
master
is
was
that
in
on
there, and I was
Prime?
like, you what?
Is that on Prime, right?
Don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah,
He
when we went
watches
to
TV.
TwitchCon, we saw the one that the guy that won, and
Yeah.
he had put up this whole like Lego thing, and everybody he was like, "Oh yeah, come build with us." And so we had followed him on
Yeah.
Twitch before, and
Oh
we were
wow.
like, and Eddie was like, "Did you win the show?" And he's like, I can't say that." And so it was cool though because his Twitch channel really started to like grow, and we saw
Yeah.
that while the show was playing, because then people were looking it up like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Brick and Nick is his name, but he
Okay, I'll
does
have to look him up.
incredible Lego builds, like,
That's
and so it was
awesome.
really cool to meet him, and it was so funny. I had posted a picture on my social media. I'm like, does he approve? Like, and I made like a bow tie, and he always wears a bow tie, and I'm like,
Yeah,
he's like, it's just
that's
so funny
cute.
because he's like, good job,
I
like,
love it. I love
yeah, I
it.
was like crowned by the Lego master.
The Lego Master. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up because I think we started watching it and then I think he forgot about it. But
Oh, okay.
you should see his room. His room is covered in Legos. He builds like,
Really?
yeah, all
Oh,
these little like, and
yeah.
I mean, so you know how normally you have to like show a child and like read the directions and like try to show them. He
Oh,
will actually
yeah.
follow the directions and build like crazy things.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, you're only 6. I'm an adult and I don't have the patience to like go
Impressive.
through that
Yeah.
whole thing, but he loves it.
Mhm.
So he
Oh,
even makes
yeah.
his own stuff now. Like he asked me to buy him shocks for his Legos so he could build more cars because he
Oh
builds
my
like trucks and like
gosh. That's so
semis and
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. I'll have to post some of his stuff. I never
Yeah.
really think
I
about
was
it.
I was gonna say if I mean, you could do a mom-owned,
Yeah,
TikTok and Instagram because,
yeah,
or even on YouTube too, because I mean,
yeah,
you can put it everywhere. But things like that really grow,
yeah,
especially with kids. Like that's
exactly.
something that, man, if he loves that and wants to stay in that,
Yeah,
like
to see
you
his
could
life.
start a channel, and
Yeah,
like that honestly would grow huge because like Lego is now, I mean, Lego is just massively building.
yeah,
Like I remember playing Lego video games, and it was like three of them, and it was
yeah,
like, but then they started buying more franchises with movies, and
yeah.
does Disney now own it? I don't know, but they're like
I
putting it
think so.
everywhere. So
Somebody big owns it because it's
yeah,
crazy. And you
yeah,
know what's weird? So speaking of manifestation, not we weren't, but I'm just going to throw it
yeah.
in there.
I love
Speaking
it.
of Legos, I
Hmm.
was so my I I sorry. So I will buy my son things. If I go out of town, I buy my son like a Lego get kit to do while I'm gone
Oh, nice.
because
Yeah,
then it's like a positive thing for him instead of being
yeah.
like, oh my
While
gosh,
you're
my
gone.
mom's leaving me. I hate this. So I
Mhm.
buy him a Lego kit. So now he knows when mom goes out of town, he gets a Lego kit.
Yeah.
So I bought him a Lego kit when I went to go visit Kelsey. And I'm like literally in the airport.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be home soon, buddy. And he's like, are you bringing me something? And I was like, I am. And he goes, is it a Lego kit? And I was like, no. And he was like, he starts crying. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I already got you a Lego kit. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
so I literally,
Mm.
I'm in the Salt Lake, Utah airport because I have connecting flights.
Hmm.
I've never seen Lego stores in airports ever. Never.
Yeah.
I'm literally, and he goes, so by the end of the conversation with him and I, who had been crying, convinced him. I was like, honey, it's going to be okay. And he's like, I know that you're going to bring me a Lego. And I'm like, it's gonna, like, all the stores are gonna be closed by the time I get home from my flight. Like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
You're like, I'm not gonna see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm walking through the airport and what do I see but this ginormous Lego store? Like, it's like three times you know how those little small shops?
Yeah, like in
Three
the
times the
mall.
regular size. And I'm like, this kid with
Wow.
his thinking is so powerful. Like, he's like, I'm gonna manifest. So of course
Yeah.
I'm not gonna walk by the Lego store without buying him
And
something.
not getting him one.
Yeah. So I took a
Yeah.
picture of it and I
Oh
was
my
like, okay.
gosh,
So I
that's
bought
so
him something from the
funny.
store and he was
Yeah.
like, you did it.
Aw, you're like, well, you did it, buddy. You
Yeah. I was
manifested
like, it
this.
wasn't
Yeah.
me. It was all you because his
Yeah.
thinking is like so powerful.
Oh, that
It
is
was
so
crazy.
cool. I know.
Yeah.
I love it when you can search for those signs and then have that confirmation of it and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, see, this is
Yeah.
possible. Yeah,
So
speaking of
cool.
manifest. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Aw. Well, I should probably get going.
Yeah.
It
We got to
was so
go.
good to chat with
Yeah. It was
you.
good to chat. And I will be, do you have your 90-minute work thing on Fridays too?
Yeah. Yep. I'm
Okay.
gonna
I
do it
might
from
pop on today.
11 to 12:30. So yeah, I'll
Okay.
post the or I'll just send it. It should be the same link, but if it doesn't work, just let me know.
I'll try it. And then
Okay.
if not, I'll
Yeah.
just message you.
Okay, good. Yeah, that
All right.
sounds good. So it was so
Yay.
good
So
to
good
chat.
to chat. Yeah. We'll see you
Yeah.
later.
All right. Happy